Alright, good evening ladies and gentlemen. I'm so sorry for the delay on that one. We had some technical difficulties, we had to wait for one of the players. Let me just get the music off. Had to wait for one of the players, and then we had some issue with Vincitore having 3 stand-ins, but we got a pass from the admin. So we're all good, and we are here. So let's get this cast started.
10
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for the JDL 5. This is the Asia 2-point-something division, and it is Vincitore up against Garuda Infinity. These are both Indonesian teams. And we've been waiting a little while for this game, just a little while, but we're getting cracking immediately, and that's really good news for me because straight after this game, or well, actually with a bit of a delayed start, it probably will be straight after this game. I'll be bringing you Goomba versus Rage as well, so that'll be 4 straight hours of JDL 5. If people want to stay tuned for that, that'll be great. So, first game of the day, Vincitore versus Garuda Infinity, and we've got the first round of bans out of the way. A very bold and interesting Broodmother ban coming straight out of Vincitore. Now, of course, Brood's been brought into Captain's Mode, has been played in quite a few games. We've seen Secret Runner and a lot of other pro teams. But I wouldn't think first ban material because she is so easily counterable. You know, you get decent AoE, you get an Axe, you get a Kunkka, you get a Pudge. There's lots of ways to counter Brood, so you generally don't need to ban her out early. Now, I don't actually know these teams too well. I've been trying to look up some of their match history while I've been waiting for this game to start. And it does look like Garuda Infinity are doing a draft that is very similar to one I've seen them during my research. They've been drafting this Vengeful Drow combo a lot. But yeah, I don't know whether they've got a particularly strong Brood player, perhaps, and that's what Vincitore are doing, banning out that Brood. I'm not sure. Vincitore banning out a little more with the metagame at the moment, I think, with Slark and Juggernaut, and then picking up this Vengeful Spirit Drow Ranger combo. Now, in the latest draft that they had versus Burster, this is the previous game in the Join Dota League Season 5, they actually drafted Drow, Venge, Storm Spirit, Witch Doctor, and Puck. Potentially a very strong team, decent amount of disable, huge amount of gank, and I'm pretty sure, I think they did win that game as well. And also, actually, you notice this when you see it all lined up together, a completely blue team, blue and purple, which is a bit weird. And as I say that, we see Vincitore going for Team Red with a Troll Warlord and a Lion. Now, I've literally just started playing Troll Warlord, and I'm realizing the massive potential of this. The whirling axes, of course, have a different cooldown for the ranged and melee uses. So you effectively have 5 spells, depending on how quickly you can toggle the ranged melee on the Q. So yeah, very, very powerful hero. And of course the ult will help buff any other right-click heroes anywhere else on the map. Now, you quite often, and it's quite interesting, you quite often see Troll Warlord played alongside a Drow Ranger and a Vengeful Spirit, or other right-click buff heroes like an Ogre Mage or a Lycan or something like that. So it's going to be interesting that both teams seem to be going for drafts that focus on a fair amount of lockdown. We've got Vengeful Spirit and Drow on the one side, and Lion with his double stun on the other. But also this right-click buff, which has been so strong in the metagame recently, and it's going to be really nuts seeing how this plays out. Brewmaster ban coming out from Garuda. I think that's very, very wise with the Troll Warlord on the other team. Brewmaster can really do a lot in a very short amount of time under the effects of the attack speed buff that comes out from Troll. And Vincitore choosing to ban out the Sniper. I think that is an incredibly smart ban. Because, of course, even aside from the teamfight presence when he'll be near Vengeful Spirit and getting that massive percentage buff to his damage, he'll also have the Drow passive affecting him from across the map during the laning phase, in any one-on-one engagement at any stage in the game, and Sniper's scary enough already if you can make him the space. So that's a good call, in my opinion. Batrider banned out as well. I think I know my friend Gothic's watching this as well, and he would have loved to see a Batrider pick up for either team here. But Batrider would have been very effective at what Garuda are doing. It would have been not very pleasant for the Drow, not very pleasant for the Enigma either. It's slightly unusual because Vengeful Spirit, with the ability to swap the allied hero out of the lasso, is generally considered a bit of a back counter, so I'm not sure about that. And we really are seeing this Team Red, Team Blue thing just being carried on. I'm wondering if the teams are kind of playing chicken with it a little bit now, as we see Enigma picked up for Garuda, and that's going to be We'll get back to that in a moment. And Il Vincitore picking up the axe. I really like the axe, actually. It gives them a decent amount of tank. Gives them additional lockdown to help Lion set up for a really nice earth spike. And potentially, I'm not saying they go for this, but if Lion were to go Axe, and Axe were to catch a decent number of heroes in Berserker's Call, then you would have a very good setup for a very sudden, huge AoE nuke. Not very pleasant. Not very pleasant at all. Yeah, so this Enigma pickup. I'm assuming that will be a jungle Enigma, and then we might see the Drow and the Vengeful as the two on the safe lane. And that would certainly be a reasonably powerful safe lane, fairly vulnerable to large amounts of lockdown. You know, Vengeful Spirit and Drow are great, so long as they're not getting hit. And if they're both hit by Earth Spike, and one of them's killed, and then the other one's hit by Hex, they'll be killed very, very, very quickly. So it's a little bit iffy, I think, risking a jungling hero. But of course, we could be Enigma off lane. We'll have to see how the lanes go. Team Red versus Team Blue. I swear to God, we see Garuda Infinity picking up Storm Spirit, anticipating that will be the mid. And of course, it's worth noting that every single hero on Garuda at the moment will be benefiting from Drow's aura. And that's going to make the laning phase kind of painful for Il Vincitore. Once the kind of first 5 minutes have gone, Drow's got some decent agility and then starts getting points in that aura. Enigma will be able to jungle more effectively, Venge will be able to harass more effectively, Storm Spirit will be last hitting like a boss. And it's going to be interesting to see whether Il Vincitore can actually keep up the whole red versus blue vibe here. They really want to get a decent amount of lockdown, I think, and a mid that can counter the Storm Spirit. I'm trying to work out exactly who I'd be itching for here. Silencer would be a very decent pickup, I think. Here, you've always got the great fact that the Global Silence will immediately cancel Black Hole, as Black Hole are the channeled ults. I wouldn't be able to dish out the last word harass on Storm Spirit the way he could on a hero like Viper. That is true, but I'm kind of thinking more generally the ability to shut down Storm's escape would be very, very useful. Nyx Assassin picked up by Il Vincitore. I'll give him that. He's red on his armor. Oh no, Gothic apparently lagged out when I was mentioning him. He's lost his chance at fame and is crying. Everybody say a quick prayer for Gothic. Rubik banned out by Garuda Infinity. They do not want that Black Hole stolen. It's a very, very wise choice. And now just waiting for the Il Vincitore final ban. Now, I've just noticed as well, they've almost run down their reserve time. Only 30 seconds left. Garuda Infinity, on the other hand, looking very, very comfortable with still almost a minute and a half. And I'm just having a look at the most recent draft from Il Vincitore while we wait for these last few picks and bans. It was Lion, Shadow Fiend, Centaur Warrunner, Medusa, and Witch Doctor. So the vibe I'm getting from Il Vincitore is that they definitely do like large amounts of lockdown. Huge amounts of lockdown. And they play a team fight game which involves basically not allowing the enemy team to move for the duration that it takes for them to kill them. And that can work very, very well. And it seems like they might be going for a similar thing here, with a huge amount of AoE lockdown on the Lion, Axe, and Nyx, and then Troll for just that really quick burst of damage from anywhere across the map. Garuda Infinity do manage to maintain the Team Red versus Team Blue with a pickup of Spirit Breaker, their first melee hero. And that'll be the kind of tank that I think they might need. They are setting the limits a little bit here. Drow will scale absolutely fine, but Spirit Breaker is not a very high scaling offlaner. But it gives them decent lockdown. I mean, hell, you know what? Any game with Spirit Breaker, I think, is just amazing. So this will be absolutely amazing. And Magnus finally picked up by Il Vincitore, breaking the red versus blue. Come on, guys. Come on. Couldn't it have been Ember Spirit? Or just anything to keep the red versus blue? That was going to be amazing. Oh, c'est la vie. C'est la vie. Alright, let's get the last hits and denies up so that I don't forget that later, and get on with introducing the teams. Nope, I was wondering about this, because it's traditional that you have a pause at the beginning of any JDL 5 game for a DC, or someone needing to go to the toilet, or somebody's mother being on fire, or something. So a brief error coming out, and what I normally do here, because I like to introduce the teams while they're running, and things are going on, so what I'll do during the pause is a quick little fashion show, and we can decide who's dressed the prettiest. Spirit Breaker, some fairly meh items. I like the mask, though. Enigma. Poor Enigma. So sad. Vengeful Spirit. This is interesting. Okay, it's not, not actually showing up the items, so I can't even do the fashion show. That's kind of disappointing. Some decent items out on the Storm Spirit. Well kitted out, but I've got to say none of these Radiant heroes have really wowed me yet. None of them are like, oh wow, that's really pretty. So let's go and have a look at Dire, see if they can do a bit of a better job. We do have a reconnect. Map error there. Interesting. Haven't had one of those in a while. Lion's looking pretty good. You know, I think this is a little bit disappointing. I think this might be one of those games where nobody wins the fashion show, and those are always kind of, you know, oh, good job selling hats, Valve. Yeah. Sorry to say this, guys, but it's kind of nobody's winning the fashion show right now. I guess maybe Spirit Breaker gets it. For you know, you don't see many people who are actually brave enough to wear a mask these days. But anyway, the game has started, so let's get on with introducing these heroes. Alright, so coming out first for Garuda 8, we have Liberati Fatali on the Storm Spirit. Spirit Breaker going to be played by Greymon. Drow Ranger going to be played by Vans. Vengeful Spirit going to be played by Speaker. And Enigma, who is heading up to the off lane. I'm really looking forward to the conversations about laning this game, is going to be played by Deja Vu Knight. That's a really cool name. I like that name. And over on the Dire, currently trying to gank into the Radiant jungle, which makes me think we're going to not see much First Blood action here, as Radiant are currently heading over to top rune. We have Anxiety, not apparently a stand-in, that's some kind of roster error, but Anxiety on the Magnus. Axe, currently standing in mid, going to be played by JJ. Nyx Assassin, going to be played by Fitzberg. Lion, going to be played by Batu, and finally Troll, going to be played by the Mong. So as I say, the teams seem to be setting up on different runes, although we might have a bit of action here in the Radiant jungle. Yeah, it looks like we might. I was going to say that we're not going to get any big action here, but it seems like we might, as Anxiety will have spotted out Speaker and be wondering whether he can back out or go in. They've been spotted out now as well. Batu kind of left on the back lines there. Magnus dropping a quick charge to get away. Does run into Storm Spirit, but only sucks up one right click. It's Batu here who's really been left a little bit behind enemy lines. I'm not sure what his plan is going to be here. Possibly just go for a courier snipe, you know. He's kind of in the position for it. Blocks up the large camp there, so Enigma won't be able to... And in fact, they've done a horrible job of warding up this poor Enigma's jungle. Unfortunately, he's hitting top. So I'm guessing it will be a support Spirit Breaker down on the bot lane. Yeah, pinged out by Mong. Let's turn my volume up a bit, I'm not hearing these pings. And we do have Lion rotating in, up behind Liberati Fatali. We're going to be seeing First Blood here. Anxiety just doing huge right clicks. And almost bringing down the Storm Spirit. And it goes to the Magnus as well. Batu did manage to get in an extra right click there. So even if Storm had healed up a little bit more, that would have been a kill. Great job there from Anxiety. I don't normally see Magnus as one of those heroes who will be getting First Bloods on Storm Spirit. Meanwhile, down on bot lane, I'm just noticing Greymon looping up behind Fitzberg here. Of course, Nick's fairly vulnerable as an offlaner until he can get his ult. Really, in my opinion, just kind of left trying to snipe up experience. And he's backing right up here to block the creep wave. I think did he spot that out? They're both blue, so it's kind of hard to tell who's drawing on the map. Now, one thing I will say, I'm very particular about Spirit Breaker plays. I love the fact that he's coming back into the metagame a little bit. To me, that is just one of the greatest things in Dota. But you got to get Bash first. You just gotta. And you don't charge anyone until you have Bash, because that just doesn't make any sense. And you don't do random stuff like this until you have your 6, because you're not very good at it. And I'm not saying those are always true. I'm not saying you always got to play by these rules, but it really does help. If you make sure you've got just a little bit of experience, then you can be, you know, he's best at like level, I would say 4, 5, and 6, maybe 7, 8, and 9 as well. If 4, 5, and 6 go okay, but at level 1, no, not good, not a good hero. Soak up that XP. Enigma actually doing a great job up here on the offlane, leading with Drow on the last hits chart, up against a troll. Now it is a solo troll. Looks like we've got Lion rotating in. Oh, as we have the charge go down under the tier 1 on bot, and this is what I'm talking about, bro. I mean, it wouldn't have helped there because the stun knocked him out of the charge regardless. But even if he had hit that Nyx, it would have done a little bit of damage, and then Nyx would just have walked away. Wouldn't have stunned for long. wouldn't have done the nuke. And that's just not really a sustainable way of playing Spirit Breaker. If you get XP starved and you're still level 1 or 2 at kind of 5 minutes, as you know, we're only 2 minutes off that mark now, that's when you're actually in serious trouble. We do have a double stack here, and it looks like it's going to be a triple stack. Greymon working this up, I would imagine, for the Storm Spirit, probably. So not going to be happy about those Mud Golems that have spawned in the middle of that. And similar work going on up here in the Dire jungle with JJ. He's only level 2, but he's got Call Up, and going to be hoping for another point in counter Helix, and then he's going to go and farm this massive stack down here and soak up a huge amount of XP. And Deja Vu Knight doing a good job. I think just excuse me. I think just trying to kill off the small camp so it can't be pulled. Which, you know, screw it. If you've got Eidolons to spare and to tank up the damage for you, go for it. Spirit Breaker still level 1, 70 XP off being able to actually bash anything. You know, you've really got to be thinking to yourself, what do you get from the Spirit Breaker mobility? Like, a tank? That's all you can really say until he has bash. Once he has bash, you've got a nuker and a potential disabler. But before bash, you've basically just got a tank. So it's like you're throwing some meat under the tower and just hoping that, I don't know, it explodes in the right way and kills the enemy somehow. It's not looking good. So Anxiety getting the first blood on mid, but it looks like this is more what I was expecting of a Magnus versus Storm lane. Magnus being brought increasingly low. Both of these heroes with a useful ability tool to help them secure the rune, but it looks like Storm is getting the better of that. I think he got and used the 4-minute rune there, and also Bottle Crowing, so he's going to have plenty of mana, and it looks like Batu's been rotated in to look after the mid. Storm Spirit charging up top, does have bash, this is huge. Now, has been pinged out as he charged from slightly the wrong place and was spotted out at mid. So we see Troll being very cautious here, staying right up behind the tier 1. Now, I'm not sure that's going to be enough to save him, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, there's the stun. We are going to see the mischance come out from the Troll Warlord, so we're not going to be able to see... Oh! The kill does go down, but Magnus is rotating in time to get the return kill on the Spirit Breaker, and now chasing down the Enigma, and finished off with the help of the Nyx. So great rotations there from Il Vincitore. Managed to secure them the better of that rotation, actually. And I gotta say, this is not how Spirit Breaker should be played. Just a quick FYI. Meanwhile, over on the mid, Lion being brought hugely low here by Storm Spirit, who does not have the mana, but one right click is enough to do it, and that's a dead Lion. The charge goes down on a ranged creep. I think this is just to get Spirit Breaker up and into lane, as well as getting rid of anyone who's trying to chase down this Storm Spirit. Luckily, there's no one. SB can, but won't, charge up and finish off those creeps, as we do see a bit of action on mid, as the Dire heroes, I think they might actually just be jungling, but for a while they look like they might be grouping up on this mid lane.
Not that I care one way or the other.
So Enigma now rotates into the jungle, with Vengeful Spirit taking the off lane to, I think, probably just secure her 6. And of course, just at the time, at about 5 minutes, where all the sentries and obs that were put in here to block up the jungle have all expired. So Deja Vu Knight sitting happy with his whole family there to help him kill that centaur. The pace is going down a little bit across the lane, and when the pace is going down, the default move is check out what the Spirit Breaker is doing. There we go. I just knew something interesting was going to happen here, as we see a charge coming down on the Nyx. Pops a Spike Carapace, manages to get both the Drow and the Spirit Breaker. Stun goes down, misses Vanna's, but he's hit by the Hex, and Fitzberg looks like he's going to be able to make it out of this one. And in fact, it's a Drow who ends up going down. Greymon now running away from Batu and Fitzberg, but there's no more stuns on either of these heroes. They're calling for a rotation though, and we do have Troll coming in from the other side. Greymon though, just lining up for a charge, going to be heading out. Anxiety does have a chance here to interrupt. I'm not sure what happened there to Greymon. I think he realized he'd be running into the Magnus and decided to just cancel the charge in the middle of the trees. Unfortunately, didn't manage to tango his way out in time. Did force huge rotations though from the Dire. We've got all 5 of their heroes back here at the mid tier 2, earning nothing, doing nothing. They pop a quick group mana boots and run back to lane, but that free farm on the Drow is going to be very useful for Radiant. So Spirit Breaker heading up top. We'll take the moment to check out the items. Storm Spirit heading straight for his Orchid with the Robe of the McGee coming out to buff his right clicks. Love to see that. Drow Ranger with a Morbid Mask already will be heading towards Mask of Madness very shortly. Magnus does have his Blink, so we're ready for the big RP finish. soon as Dire are ready to get initiating. And I gotta say, even though they're leading on the kills at the moment, it kind of feels a little bit like Radiant is still setting the pace of the game. And okay, with a Storm Spirit and a Spirit Breaker, you kind of expect that you're going to have that team setting the pace of the game. That said, I would like to see Dire do something with this lead. I don't think they're even farming effectively, as we saw huge rotations for that Spirit Breaker. Up on top, Batu being gone on by the support Vengeful Spirit and Greymon on the Spirit Breaker. He will have charge again in 2 seconds, and the Nyx stun misses. That's a deadline, the mana drain goes down. So he's got to try and TP. Nyx already using the stun is not going to be able to interrupt that. So again, 3 big rotations come out from Dire to try and help deal with this this aggression. This time though they do leave Magnus on the mid, so he'll be able to farm up a little bit more. RP went down, I missed that. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. But we're not quite ready for the big RP team fight that I thought we were. Batu getting stunned out. That's going to make denying this tower just that little bit more difficult. Oh no, the Eidolons die at just the wrong time for this Enigma. And Lion does get the deny. That was pretty clutch. That was pretty clutch. Over here on top lane, we've got Troll heading back into farm. And Lion desperately trying to fight off this Enigma, not having a huge amount of luck. Rotations coming in from Dire. Again, they're trying to hope for a kill on a key hero here, but Radiant are doing, even though it's 4-6, they're doing a fairly good job at rotating out of a fair number of the aggressive plays they're making without suffering too many losses. Sorry, just getting some concerning messages about the quality of the stream. If anybody does have is noticing anything weird about the audio or the video or anything like that, please do just leave a message in the stream, and I will try and address it as soon as possible. If everything's okay for most people, then that's awesome sauce. As we see a big rotation, Spirit Breaker supported by a smoke gank coming out here on the top lane. The Venge stun goes down as well, but Troll seems really, really tanky here. They need a little bit more to kill him, or at least vision for the charge, but the rotations are coming in. Magnus moving in, Troll still with the salve. I don't know whether that was still from early game, but Dire with the Axe and the Nyx rotating in as well are actually going to outnumber and can take this fight. Spirit Breaker coming in again, wants to go for this Troll, but we've got a big skewer followed by it. Well, we're ready for the RP from Anxiety, and the big rotations coming in from Dire is going to mean that this is a wipe for the Dire. 4 for nothing. I didn't even mention in the middle of that, it was actually a very nice black hole from Enigma. Unfortunately, it wasn't really doing the damage to secure a kill. It almost got Troll. And it was right on top of a Magnus with a huge number of other Dire heroes rotating in. So it did not end well. It kind of just set up for the RP, and yeah, pain happened basically. Van's pushing down mid. Now, he's got a... Oh, the catapult didn't quite make it. I think he probably should have edged forward a little bit there, tanked up, probably just one more last right click. Fitzberg coming in for the stun. They're going to get it. We've got a Hex coming out from line as well. Oh, Fitzberg doesn't have mana. The Vengeful Switch, followed by a Gust from Vans, is going to see him out. That's a nice combo, actually. Kind of a bit of insurance on the Vengeful Switch that you get from just immediately dropping the push off after it. We've got Greymon not letting this fight go. He's level 5, so still no ult, but Lion is brought down with the support from his team. The range... Oh, and he gets 6 off that kill. He uses it immediately on the Troll, and that's another kill. We've got Liberati coming in here as well. Gets Elise down on JJ, and that's 4 for nothing. G8 getting their revenge. Another charge goes down on Magnus. I think he's mainly just looking to keep him out of play here so that the push can go down on the mid tower.
Has fortified its structures. Dire's middle tower is being attacked.
And this is kind of what I was saying. You get the impression that Dire, yeah, they're leading on kills, but that's mainly because Radiant are just setting the pace completely. And Dire are rotating huge numbers of heroes away from their ideal kind of XP farming positions as we see the Dire rotate in, finish off the Drow. Oh, a fake I think on the RP there, not actually used. Oh no, it was used! My gosh, I thought he cancelled it. Vengeful Spirit finished off though, but not with any help from the RP. Storm Spirit is spotted out by Nyx, does get the stun on the face, followed up by the Earth Spike, and that's another kill for Lion. So this game seems to have the pattern of 4-man kill, 4-man kill, 4-man kill, 4-man kill, going one way and then the other, with no fights where nothing happened. And that kind of makes sense when you look at the heroes. You've got Black Hole, which admittedly hasn't been too helpful so far in the game. But you've got RP, which also,
Radiant's
actually,
top
now that I
tower
think
is
about it,
being
hasn't been too
attacked.
helpful so far in the game. Push up on top lane. Troll Warlord trying to get some damage in, but Drow's going to come in there and just soak up the farm. With Yasha and Mask of Madness finished, she's going to be looking to pick up a couple more damage items soon and really, really start kicking ass. I'm wondering if we're going to be seeing the Blink coming out as well. Might be useful to get her out of danger from the... well, I suppose not from the Nyx, but from the Magnus. And these dire rotations, they just... well, the last one went very, very well for them. Let's see how the next one goes, I suppose. Is the fairest thing to say.
Radiant's bottom tower is being
Anxiety, getting Shockwave down on the creep wave. Fitzberg misses with the stun, but almost gets Vans. That would have been huge. Knocked out by the Vengeful Stun, followed up by a Silence from Drow. The massive SB stun has gone in, though. Greyman gets the ult off, but kind of just left alone there. Drow trying to come in and support. They do manage to finish off the Magnus, and this push is actually going great. Spirit Breaker giving them just the cover they need.
dominating.
Wow, triple kill there for... what? No, quadruple kill for Storm Spirit. Great play.
Dire's top tower
And that's the
is
first 5-man wipe of the game. Now, even though it's only 20-30 seconds on the cooldowns, I think Radiant have a decent chance on this tower. Drow's currently kicking for about 250 damage.
Dire's top tower is under siege.
Nope, Vengeful left them, so she's no longer kicking for about 250 damage. But they've certainly got what they need for this push.
Dire's top
Tier 2
tower
goes
is
down. We haven't
being
seen a single tower go down on the Radiant side yet. And this game is... yeah, it's interesting. I'm going to do what I've been dreading. Yeah, this is kind of what I've been expecting. I don't want to make a call on this game, although I think G8 have it. But this is what it's been like, guys. It's nuts. Like, what the hell is this? Gold is perhaps slightly more indicative of a slight general trend in favor of the Infinity team, but nothing you would call hugely conclusive. Liberati with a haste rune finishing off some of the dire jungle on his way out. And Deja Vu Knight looking to push up the mid. Remove the winter effect. Alright, I'll get rid of the winter effect for the next game if you guys are sure. We got a big Radiant initiation up on the top lane.
Dire's bottom
Mong makes it out though, and Dire are here in time. This is what's keeping them... this is, I suppose, the best way to describe this match. Massive, massive aggression from the Radiant, which works half the time, and half the time Dire are there in time to stop it up. And when Dire stop it up, it's big, and they are getting big, big pickoffs. Radiant not so great at getting in and nuking, not so good at getting back out again if things go badly. But that said, Dire have not yet found a point in this game where they can be aggressive. And I don't think they've got a team where they can just happily sit back and farm and wait to outscale Radiant later in the game. They do have to get aggressive at some point and fight for some objectives, and it's just not happening. You know, at 15 minutes, yeah, okay, it's acceptable to not have a tower down at 15 minutes, but when the enemy have 5 of your towers down, I'm kind of thinking that you should be making a little bit of progress. Now, as I said, I've been looking at Troll recently, trying to work out how to play the guy well, so I'm going to have a look at this build. We've got Bracer, Phase, Aquila, and a Morbid Mask in addition to backup Magic Wand. A switch comes out from Drow, Mong being brought hugely low, and we do have Vans in here as well, just dishing out the right clicks. Split target for a moment there with the Batu. And Greyman comes in, but the redirected charge lands on a creep. JJ wants to come in here. I think he's being a little bit over-aggressive. Magnus pinging him out, going, what the very hell are you doing, friend? I'm not sure what he was expecting there. Storm Spirit goes for the deep. Wants to find the Nyx, doesn't quite get him, goes for the Magnus, dodges the stun, and they do finish off the Magnus as well on the back.
Dire's bottom
So, another team wipe for G8. And for as long as they're the only ones being aggressive, and they're setting the paces of these fights, they've got a better chance than Vincitore of that happening.
Dire's bottom
And I'm pretty sure,
tower
yeah,
is
Black
under
Hole wasn't
siege.
dropped, none of the big ults were dropped in that fight.
Dire's structures have been
I think in terms of Greymon's ult, that was more a question of circumstance than intention, but that's fine.
So there's that. Dire's bottom tower has been destroyed.
And this is getting really scary here. Effectively double the value of the Radiant cores compared to the Dire, so Drow, not quite, but almost double Magnus. And a similar story comparing Storm and Troll, Enigma, and the Axe. The supports are maybe a little bit closer, but you know, if you've got one thing going for you in the game, you don't want it to be that your supports are doing okay. You want it to be something a little bit more significant than that. Radiant looking to take this bottom racks, and then I think making the very smart decision to just quickly rotate into the Roshan. Spirit Breaker can stun and hopefully knock off a couple of easy stuns here as well. But the main part of this is just going to be Drow nuking it down quicker than breathing. A DD here as well, coming down on the Storm Spirit, so that'll go into his bottle. Decent bit of mana regen for him, but more importantly, right-clicking like a bouse. I think if they had a little bit more mana, just generally on all their heroes, it probably would have been better to put that DD on Drow and use it to immediately push down mid, because I'm not really sure that there's much Vincitore could have done against a DD Drow, but a DD Storm Spirit is not as much of a big deal, at the very least. I can't believe you guys don't like my snow effect. I'm gonna cry. I love my snow effect. It's my favorite effect. I think it's actually on random at the moment, but I can turn that off. I'll play to the crowd. Deja Vu Knight putting some pressure up mid while Storm farms up the Dire jungle and the Radiant heroes. If I were them, I would be putting someone over. If they're not gonna go and push right now, I'd be sending someone straight top. Yeah, here we go. It's Liberati. Just sending someone straight top to get that lane pushed out, and then you've got all three lanes pressured. You can force their heroes to split up on different lanes, and with high mobility heroes like Storm and Spirit Breaker, you can split push and then suddenly be team fighting 5-on-2 in one lane. Deja Vu Knight creep skipping here. I think to an extent also trying to bait out some kind of aggression here from Vincitore, but they're playing very cautious. Oh no, they're not, as we see a smoke come down. Fitzberg does have Vendetta up as well, and will be using that to scout out the Radiant heroes. They spot out Vans. They get the stun down. Lion coming in, drops the finger immediately, which is a proper use for it as an initial nuke. They do manage to get the kill with the axe stun, but of course that is just the Aegis. Spirit Breaker charge has gone down as well. We get a big RP coming out from Anxiety, but it ends up just being sucked up by the black hole. But it's a black hole that is interrupted by the Lion stun. But the Storm Spirit finally arrives in the fight, and his right clicks are enough. Fitzberg does manage to pop the Spike Carapace on the way out to slow down the aggression, but it's not enough. G8 rotating in quickly enough there, and the only kill going the way of Vincitore being the Drow who had Aegis. So not the fight they wanted, but I guess the fight they were due. Let's have a quick look at the recap. So yeah, most of the damage we saw in that fight coming out from Storm Spirit, which that's what the DD can do, I guess. It would have been even more damage coming out of the Drow, but given that she was out for at least the first kind of 8 seconds of the fight, what with being stun locked and then having to respawn with the Aegis, yeah, it certainly worked out having it on Storm. Final racks going down here for Vincitore, and G8 looking quietly confident with their team blue. And that'll be enough for tier 3 actually, just with those Eidolons I think. There's not much else that can happen here. Yeah, the tower's down, quick snipe from Drow. And it looks like we're going to be treated to a final 5v5 over here on the last vestiges of Dire's game. Let's have a quick look at that XP graph. We got 15,000 in favor of Garuda Infinity, and those ups and downs barely noticeable anymore compared to the lead they have now. Greymon going in with a big charge does manage to stun out Mong, and it's Vans with the BKB who I was going to keep my eye on. I know there's a fight going on at the south. The Storm Spirit goes in, getting damage down on JJ. We've got Fitzberg under Vendetta looking for a pick-off on the way out. His team ready to come in and back him up. We get a charge coming out from Spirit Breaker, which will interrupt that though. Fitzberg still hasn't popped Vendetta. Desperately looking for a kill. Drops down on Fatali, but there's not enough damage. Fitzberg now kind of in trouble. Vans eats up the RP. He got a little bit far forward there looking for the next pick-off and finished off. Vengeful Spirit finished off as well. Maybe Dire can make a play off this, but it's going to be tricky. Greymon does get finished off as well, so yeah, I guess Dire are kind of just getting the pick-offs they need here. Deja Vu Knight wants to go in on Anxiety, but it's going to take him a long time to right-click him down, and by that time we're going to see the rest of the Dire heroes rotating in, and the stun lock comes down, so no kill on the Magnus, and 4 for 1, probably 4 for 2 as I saw a buyback in the middle of there. Ping's coming down on that goddamn catapult. Yeah, kill it, friends, kill it.
Dire's middle tower is being attacked.
Concerned pings coming out on Liberace Fatali down here. He's going to pick up another DD rune and I'm pretty sure make it work. does seem to be behaving a little bit strangely here. I'm not sure why he's not just, I don't know, getting straight back to base, healing up, finishing the game. All things he could be doing. But if he wants to farm up the rest of his Bloodstone, he's got his Bloodstone. What is going on here, Storm Spirit? Tell me, friend. Oh, BOTs? But he could have sold the treads. Whatever. I don't know. BOTs coming out on Enigma. Yeah, we might be seeing a Radiant strategy here of just, let's all grab BOTs. Yule's coming out on the Magnus. Fitzberg Vendetta up. Does spot out Speaker. Deja Vu Knight definitely within rotation distance though. This could be a good fight for Dire. We get a sentry coming down. Well, good game sense there from Venge, but she's hit by the call. Deja Vu Knight wants to come in. We've got the Storm Spirit as well though, Liberace Fatali, and Lion coming in, gets a kill with the finger on the Vengeful Spirit. This is not looking good for Radiant, although we do have Vans coming in here, and one Drow Ranger with a Mask of Madness can make all the difference. Meanwhile, back at the Dire base, the creeps do the work. Wow, well, GG guys. Oh, that wasn't the creeps, that was a GG call. I missed that, I was too focused on the fight on mid. Well played to both teams, that was a real pleasure. We'll be going straight back in with the second game of G8 versus IV. And then after that, we'll be coming back with Goomba versus Rage, so please do stay tuned, we've got a bit of a spree coming on. If you haven't already, please do like, follow, subscribe, as it helps the channel grow, get into bigger tournaments, maybe even Premier Division, JDL for the next season. And yeah, stay tuned. As I said, I'll go into the Be Right Back screen now. But the next match will be coming up just as soon as the players are ready. Cheers, guys. See you soon. Oh yeah, and I will just change the snow loadout because apparently the snow loadout gets a lot of hatred. I didn't realise this would be the case. Getting some weird lag though, so bear with me. Yeah, so weird lag means I might not get a chance to, as you can see I'm having a little bit of a problem here. I am in the lobby, but just, what? Dota, come on! I'll show you guys what I'm seeing. Oh yeah, there we go, okay. Global items, with the weather effect. I'll just unequip. Because you guys are haters. That's what I learned today. You guys be haters. Seems like the lag is gone, which is good because I think we're going to be going straight in with game 2. Very little delay here. We've got all the players in, obviously. We've got the admin. We've worked out who's going first. And I don't know, we might be having a situation where the teams are asking for a little bit of a pee break. Even Dota players need pee breaks. So yeah, I'm just going to leave us on the music for a little while, and we will be back in with Game 2 of Garuda Infinity versus Vincitore very, very shortly. Oh, and just to clarify, okay, we'll start the second game in 2 minutes. The call just came out from the admin. And just to clarify, the snow effect has been removed. I hear you, Vladarts. Love you, buddy. just opening TeamSpeak. I don't think we're going to have a co-caster for the next match. Kind of enjoying the solo cast, but going to be making use of the casting channel here, so there might be a couple of weird noises. Just ignore.
Connected. Channel switched. User was moved to your channel.
Dyer's ban.
That seems like a pretty good opportunity to turn off the music.
Ban.
Just let a couple of these bands roll by, and we will be straight in for game 2. Hooah.